Afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us as Premier Boxing Champions presents our virtual press conference here on Saturday, March 28th. WBC Super Welterweight World Champion Sebastian the Towering Inferno Fundora will look to continue his 154-pound world title reign as he takes on the former unified world champion Keith one-time Thurman in an explosive clash that headlines a PBC pay-per-view event on Prime Video from the MGM Grand Garden Arena in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Today, we'll be hearing from the fighters that will also be a part of the exciting pay-per-view card, with the action beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Our co-main event features top heavyweight contender Frank the Cuban Flash Sanchez as he battles the unbeaten U.S. Olympic silver medalist Richard Torrez Jr. in an IBF heavyweight title final eliminator. And then undefeated top-rated middleweight contender Yoenli Hernandez duels the battle-tested U.S. Olympian Terrell Gausha in a 10-round showdown. And then we'll open up our pay-per-view card with the exciting rising star Elijah Garcia as he takes on the veteran super middleweight contender Kevin Newman in a 10-round opening bout. Tickets are on sale now through AXS.com. Tickets are on sale now, so feel free to purchase those as well. In addition, if you are unable to be there in person, you are able to purchase the pay-per-view on Prime Video, regardless of your Amazon Prime membership. Fans will be able to continue to access the telecast through traditional cable and satellite outlets, as well as ppv.com. The event, of course, is promoted by TGB Promotions and Samson Boxing, and our co-main event is promoted in association with Top Rank Boxing. The event is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to meet some of the fighters that will be on the pay-per-view card on March 28th, as we'll bring on first a man that will be opening up the pay-per-view portion of the card, coming in with a record of 18 victories, 3 defeats, 1 by draw, with 11 wins coming by KO. Originally from Los Angeles, California, now fighting out of Las Vegas. He's entering this fight on huge momentum on a 7-bout win streak, including 2 victories in 2025 over Alan Campa and Malcolm Jones. Please help me welcome Kevin Newman. Welcome in, Kevin. Great to have you here. Opening comments, opening thoughts as you get prepared for March 28th.
I want to first say thank you to Al Heyman, Tom Brown, Louis DeCuba, PBC, TGB Promotions, and Prime Video, for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to a great fight and put on a great performance.
Well, thank you so much, Kevin. We'll get back to you in just a second as we bring on your opponent, who has been an exciting young star, rising at 17-1 with 13 wins by knockout. He is a 22-year-old native of Phoenix, Arizona. Is making his debut at super middleweight after a run at middleweight that also includes what is now a victory over the current WBA super middleweight world champion Armando Resendiz. Please help me welcome in Elijah Garcia.
Hey, how's it going? I'm excited to be back on a big stage. I'm fighting Kevin Newman. Kevin is very experienced. He's been around, and I'm ready to put on a great performance. I'm back training with my dad in Phoenix, and I'm excited. I'm ready to get back in the ring after.
We'll kick things off with you guys. You guys are opening up the bout. I'll start with you first, Elijah. You have, had what is pretty much a very active career for only being 22 years of age. And you have had a lot come and thrown at you. You've had a lot of the hype around you. You suffered a setback, but were able to bounce back with the win over Terrell Gausha, who's also on this card. What have you learned having taken in so much so early on in your career?
You got to stay active. That's one. I fought twice in the last 2 years. You know what I mean? So you got to stay active. I've had a lot of, I've had tough fights. I'm only 22, about to be 23. And I got a lot of experience under my belt. And one thing I've always learned is can never underestimate your opponents, and you got to stay ready 24/7. So, coming into this fight with my dad as my head coach again, I know what I'm up against. Kevin Newman, he's tough, he's experienced, he's crafty, and to be honest, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think I've ever fought anybody like Kevin. He's different. I feel like, he has a lot of experience. He's been here. You know what I mean? So, I'm out there. I'm just gonna do what I do best, fight my fight, and hopefully everything goes my way.
I will turn it over to you, Kevin. Coming in to this fight, great opportunity for you. You just heard Elijah say he gave you some compliments here. He said that you're different. You're unlike any guys that he has faced in his career. What do you think sets you apart from what he has faced previously?
Just I think a little bit of everything, man. All respects to, Terrell and some of the other guys that Elijah has fought. I think I bring a little bit of some different things to the table, man. Some skill set, speed, power, reflex. I got a high IQ. I've been around the game for a long time, man, and soaked up a lot of game, and I'm always in the gym, man. I'm always learning, I'm always adding to my game. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's just one thing, but I appreciate him for giving me that respect. And just like, I give him the same respect. He's a young, hungry, strong kid, trying to make a mark in the game. And so I respect him, man. I'm looking forward to a great fight.
Now back to you, Elijah. You obviously have competed at 160 pounds your last few bouts, and now you're taking a step up to super middleweight. What prompted that change for you and your team to go from 160 to 168?
I've been fighting at 160 since I was 17 years old. I'm about to be 23. You know what I mean? I missed weight and I lost against Kyron Davis. And then I was in camp with Bob for about 8 months. And it was so hard to make weight. You know what I mean? 160, I grew out of it. There's not much to say. I grew out of it. I fighted for a long time. I think it's just time to move up. My last performance wasn't the best. And, got to move up in weight now. And I think 168 is going to be a new challenge, definitely bigger opponents, but, I'm always up for the challenge, and I've never really backed down from one, you know what I mean?
And now back to you, Kevin. One more question before we turn things over to the media here for both of you. You are coming in on a high, 7 straight victories. What's been working so well? What have you figured out in your last 7 fights that has put you on this winning streak?
It's a lot of different things, man. Obviously just, being more focused, man, not letting outside distractions get in the way of what's truly important, and locking in with Roy Jones. Me and him been working together since 2020. We've been on a hell of a win streak. We put on some good performances. Been a lot of learning and a lot of adding to my game. But we work and mesh real well together. You know what I'm saying? There's only one Roy Jones Jr., but if you can have a legend like that, giving you game and giving you advice, you gotta learn and take them jewels from guys like that, man. And I just feel like I'm more of a complete fighter than I was back in 2020. So, but just the main thing, man, is just the mindset, man. It's just dominating and going out there and putting it all on the line, man. So I feel like I'm in a great headspace, and I'm just looking forward to the fight, March 28th.
Well, I know we are very much looking forward to it. So now let's open it up to our media members that are on this call. If you could please just raise your hand, and Andrew will do his best to get to all of your questions. So this is now your time to ask questions to Kevin and Elijah. Andrew, take it away.
Thanks very much, Miguel. Our first media questions today are going to come from James Bell with the Boxing Source. James, if you could please unmute yourself, you can ask your question.
All right, thanks, Andrew. One question for each. First for Elijah. Going off of your fight there against Terrell Gausha last year, what did you learn from that particular fight, and did that prompt the change to be back with your dad as your head trainer?
I had to do what I had to do. I had to go out there to Vegas. I had to go out there and I had to train with, I give Bob, got me in great shape. It's just, wasn't my style. I learned a lot of things, fighting Gausha. Gausha, he's experienced, you know what I mean? He's only lost to world champions. And, we had a tough fight, a close fight. And you learn a lot, taking those tough fights. You look at my past opponents. I can't name, the last 5, 6 opponents. They've all been tough. I can't name not one easy fight. You know what I mean? And that's just all experience. That's what's going to take me to the world title when it's time. And I don't know, my dad is my head coach. That's always been the plan. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And after that fight, obviously, my dad's my head coach for a reason.
Gotcha. And this question here for Kevin Newman, given that you're based there in the Vegas area, but this is, going to be the first fight here that you'll be on pay-per-view. So how would you react to being part of this big stage here going up against Elijah Garcia?
Man, I'm just thankful, man, and blessed for the opportunity. I turned professional, here in Las Vegas at the MGM Grand when I was signed with Floyd Mayweather Promotions, man, and it's cool. It's cool to be back, man, on a big stage, man, against a young, strong, hungry kid. I'm just looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to it, and I can't wait.
All right. Thanks very much for those questions, James. Our next media question is going to come from Matthew Brown with Brunch Boxing. Matthew, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Yeah, how you doing? I got a question for both guys. First with Kevin, obviously you say you've been working with Roy Jones since 2020. You guys worked on a lot of things. You've learned a lot from him. What could you say is like the most important thing that you've learned from him, especially with in terms of your fight game?
That's a good question, man. Just the mindset, man, and how to win. You understand what I'm saying? How to dominate, how to win. If you remember Roy in his prime, he was a very dominant fighter. He barely lost a round, and I think just that part of it was missing. Of course, we have trainers and we have things like that, people that are teaching us things, but knowing how to win and consistently just win every second of every round or dominate every second of every round, which is very tough. In certain cases, but the mentality, man, is the main thing. You know what I'm saying? And of course, and adding other little nuances and tricks to my game, man. So it's dope, man. It's dope for sure.
I appreciate you, man. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Elijah, I wanted to go back to the change in the train. I know you said that it wasn't your style. Like, what exactly, in your estimation, was the bad fit that made you feel like, hey, we need to make a change in order for it to move forward?
Are you talking about after
From
Bob or
from
before
Bob,
Bob?
going back to your dad.
It was just me and my dad are, we're pretty much like the same person. You know what I mean? He could tell me something without even really telling me something. You know what I mean? We have a connection, and it's me and Bob had a great connection, but it's just we do things differently. You know what I mean? And it's kind of hard. My dad trained my whole career, and in order to go, train with somebody else, especially for someone like Gausha, that shit's not easy. Gausha, shit's tough. You know what I mean? And it's just maybe I need more time with Bob. I don't know. I'm not going to risk it again. Obviously that wasn't my best performance. So I've had great performances with my dad before. As long as I make the weight, everything's going to go smooth. And you know what I mean? That's the main thing we're worried about. March 28th, making the weight and making the fight easy.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Matthew. Our next media question is going to come from Elias Blanco with Split Decision Boxing. Elias, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
All right, thanks, Andrew. First question is for Elijah. Elijah, you mentioned, you fought only twice in the last 2 years and talked about the struggle of making 160 pounds. Do you feel like that struggle to make middleweight is the reason why you were kind of inactive? And now with this jump to 168, are you going to see yourself fighting 3, 4 times again?
No, I feel like, I was inactive. When you lose a fight, it's kind of, it sets you back. It really does. It sets you back. So, and then on top of it, I was supposed to fight, but it was hard to get fight dates. And then when I finally get the fight date, it was still tough to make the weight. It's just not easy, I'm a big dude naturally, you know what I mean? And it is what it is. But I'm sorry, what was your second question?
Yeah. Do you see yourself now that you're at 168 fighting 3, 4 times a year again?
Yeah, that's the plan. We got a plan. Me and my team have a plan and written up. We got to obviously. I'm not looking forward. Because I got a lot on my plate with Kevin. But that's the plan. Once we get past this fight, it's time to move on and move next. I've had tough fights already. I've beat good guys already, and we know that I'm proven, and we know what I'm capable of. It's just getting there. That's the hard part. So like I said, I got a lot on my plate. Got to deal with Kevin first, and then hopefully down the line, you guys see me again 2 or 3 times later on this year.
Absolutely. And for Kevin, you're entering the 12th year of your pro career. It seems like it's the best run, 7 fight win streak. Does a win over Garcia put you in position to fight these a top 15, top 10 guy or even a title eliminator?
Absolutely, man. I mean, this kid is a good fighter. Take make no mistake about it. But I feel like, yes, like he's my main focus. I'm not looking past him. Do I want to fight, the other top guys in the division? Absolutely. I mean, I've been calling guys for a minute, but it's just about getting and putting yourself in position, so but nothing I don't look past this guy. This is a tough, young, hungry kid, so my main focus is him, and then everything that comes after that is what it is.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Elias. We have time for one more set of questions for this pair. Next up, we have Jim Conlon for RCB Radio Sport in Ireland. Jim, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Okay, one question for each fighter. Elijah, if I can start off by asking you, at 160, you carried an awful lot of knockout power, 13 knockouts in 17 fights. Stepping up now to 168, it's a new challenge for you. Do you think you're going to carry that same knockout power, or do you have to adapt your game?
Nah, that's not gonna be a problem. I think, when I have to lose weight, it makes when you have to make 160 and you're killing yourself to make 160, it's obviously way harder to be stronger in that ring. But moving up to 68, I don't think that's gonna be a problem. I'm naturally a bigger guy, and I think 68 is gonna suit me a lot better. So carrying that power is not gonna be a problem.
Okay, and my question for Kevin. Kevin, you talk about the impact of Roy Jones Jr. coming in 2020, but what was it for you? The first thing Roy said, we're going to press the reset button now, we're going to strip everything bare, strip you down to the bone, and we're going to sort of build you up again. Was that the sort of process that Roy had when you first met him?
To a degree, I mean, he didn't take everything, that made me away from me away. I was trained by the Mayweathers as a young, a young kid, so he didn't take all that away. All he did was just add things. He took some of the things that I was doing wrong away and just showing me certain things. But for the most part, he just built on top of what was already there. And the mental aspect, so with Roy, we have a great connection. He's like a father to me. He's been there in some of my toughest moments in life, not only in boxing but outside the ring. So we have a great connection, and we see things very much so the same in a sense in the terms of boxing. So we just work and mesh really well.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Jim, and thank you to both Kevin and Elijah for joining us here. I'm going to throw things back to Miguel to get closing comments from y'all, and we can move on to our next pair of fighters.
Thanks so much, Andrew, Kevin, Elijah. Thank you guys for joining us on this virtual presser. And real quick, before we let you guys go, I'll start with you, Kevin. March 28th, this is your opportunity to throw your hat into the ring in the super middleweight division. A lot of top names in that division. What can fans expect from you March 28th?
They could expect fireworks, man. I think our styles, we have the makings of a great fight, but you can expect me, to go out there, put on a dominant performance, man, and at the end of the night, have my hand raised.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And now to you, Elijah. March 28th, pretty much similar sentiment. This is your first bout at super middleweight. You're excited. You talked about how you're, coming into this division now. You've had a lot of momentum, a lot of hype around your name. What's going to be the message to not only Kevin, but the other super middleweights in the division come March 28th?
March 28th, I feel like it's around the corner. I've been here before. I'm excited to get back in the ring after a year layoff. I know Kevin spent a lot of time with Roy. And a hard fight ain't nothing new to me. You know what I mean? And like I said, Kevin hung out with Roy, and I know Roy will understand this, but I'm meant for gaff. That's what I'm born for. So when I go in the ring, I'm meant for gaff. That's me, and I'm game, and I'm there, and I'm laid down every single time. You know what I mean? I'm 22, 23 years old, and I've proven myself, and I still got still a lot to prove, and I'm here. I'm gonna take it all. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much, Elijah. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us on this call. And we look forward to seeing you guys fight week as we gear up and get closer to March 28th. Thanks so much, gentlemen.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, now we will continue on with our fight card for March 28th as we move on to what's going to be our next bout. An exciting matchup as I bring on first a man coming in with 24 victories with 12 by knockout, 5 defeats, and 1 draw. Born in Cleveland, Ohio, but now fights out of Encino, California, where he is trained by the renowned Manny Robles. He is a man that has faced so many world champions on his resume throughout his career. Arislandi Lara, Tim Tszyu, Erickson Lubin, Austin Trout, to name a few. Please help me welcome Terrell Gausha.
Hey, how you doing?
Welcome in, Terrell. March 28th, you are back at it with another opportunity in front of you to give a man his very first defeat. What are your thoughts as you head into the matchup in a little over a month?
Yeah, I'm excited, to be on another big card and just to be able to showcase my talent on a nice card like that against a guy like Yoenli. He's a tough fighter. I've been watching him. And I'm ready to do what I got to do.
All right, we'll get to you in just a second. Thanks so much, Terrell. As we go to your opponent, coming in undefeated, 9 victories, 8 of those coming by knockout, ranked number 1 by the WBA, number 2 by the WBC, and number 3 by the WBO at the middleweight division. He is a sensational Cuban amateur from Camagüey, Cuba. He's most recently added 3 victories in 2025, including a unanimous shutout victory over Kyron Davis last May. Please help me welcome Yoenli Hernandez.
Okay.
Yoenli, tus sensaciones de cara a esta pelea.
¿Cómo?
Sensaciones de cara a esta pelea.
No, estamos con la sensación que tengo para esta pelea es que estamos esperando que se dé la pelea con la bendición de Dios, que no haya problema y que se dé para seguir avanzando en mi carrera deportiva.
We're excited for this fight. God willing, if we can make it happen, then it's gonna be super exciting and a great boost to my career. I can't wait.
All right, thank you, Martin Batar, with translation with Yoenli Hernandez. And now let's start with you, Yoenli. You have been ascending in your career of the last few years. How close do you believe you are to a world title opportunity?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that one more time? It's hard to hear.
Oh, sorry. That was a question for Yoenli. We were starting with him, and then I'll get to you, Terrell.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Martin.
Sorry, can you repeat the question? I thought that was for Terrell.
Yeah, absolutely, Yoenli. So you have been ascending in your career, undefeated, pretty much dominating opponents in front of you. How close do you believe you are to being a world title opportunity and being the best in the division?
Bueno, Yoenli, estás invicto en plena trayectoria ascendente. ¿Qué tan importante crees que es esta pelea para poder seguir ascendiendo en la división?
No, para mí todas las peleas son importantes. En especial cada vez que yo voy peleando, para mí cada pelea es más importante porque así me voy colocando entre los mejores y entre los primeros y me dan más oportunidades de ir a discutir un título.
Look, every fight is vital to me because, like you said, it's very much an ascending trajectory for me. I want to go after the best. I want to go after the champions in my quest to earn that title.
For you, Terrell, as we've talked about, you've already studied Yoenli. You have looked and seen what he has been able to do in his career at 9-0 with 8 of those by knockout. None of his fights have really been close. How do you change up that momentum, and what is going to be different come March 28th when he steps in the ring with you?
Yeah, I know he's had 9 fights, 8 knockouts. He's a big puncher, but he hasn't fought me yet. You know what I mean? And I'm just gonna be myself. Do what I do, give people problems. I've fought everyone, seen every style, and I'm just ready to do what I do and just be myself.
Now back to you, Yoenli. As you are taking on probably your toughest opponent to date, this is a man that has faced world champions throughout his career, never been finished. He has been tested and proven against as a very tough opponent. What's this matchup on March 28th going to showcase to all the other champions and contenders out there in the middleweight division when you face Terrell Gausha?
Bueno, tu oponente es un veterano de mil batallas que se ha enfrentado a muchos oponentes de alto calibre. ¿Qué crees que es lo que esta pelea el 28 de marzo va a demostrarle al mundo del boxeo cuando entres al ring para enfrentarte a Terrell?
Bueno, este 28 de marzo les vamos a conocer de qué realmente estoy yo y les voy a dar a demostrar al público de que yo estoy bien preparado y listo para pelear con quien sea. Y esta pelea es un obstáculo más que me están imponiendo para lograr mi objetivo de ir a discutir un título mundial y la voy a romper como siempre lo he hecho a Riverrín, darle un buen espectáculo al público y hacer quedarme bien principalmente yo mismo.
The main thing for me is to really feel good about myself and to give the fans the show that they deserve. I'm well aware of what Terrell represents, the veteran that he is, but I'm up to go against anybody, anytime, because my goal is to make it to the top.
Thank you, Martin. And now we'll open it up to Q&A with the media members. So feel free, once again, raise your hand and Andrew will get to all of your questions for Terrell and Yoenli. Take it away, Andrew.
All right, thanks very much, Miguel. Our first media question is going to come from James Bell with the Boxing Source. James, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
All right, thank you. One question for each. First for Terrell. Given your experience there, against either former world champions or current world champions, and your recent fight against Elijah Garcia, do you think that particular experience is going to be a factor against Hernandez, who will only have like 10 fights going into March 28th?
Yeah, I mean, my experience is gonna play a part in the fight for sure. But by him only having 9 fights, it don't really make a difference because he's experienced too, extensive amateur background, and we're not gonna take away from what he do in the ring. But he up against me now, and I just got to do what I do and be myself. He's just another man like me with 2 hands, so it's nothing I've never seen before.
Gotcha. And this question here for Yoenli, given that you've risen in the ranks very quickly here in the middleweight division, how important was it for you to, not only get the fight against Kyron Davis last May, but also the fight against Ramon De La Cruz in October over in the Miami area to get prepared for fights like this?
Bueno, Yoenli, primero que nada, si podrías poner la cámara horizontal de vuelta, es mala mía, que si la pones horizontal, estaría genial. ¿Y qué representaron las peleas contra Kyron Davis en mayo y tu pelea en octubre para poder prepararte para esta pelea este año?
No, la pelea con Kyron Davis me vino bastante bien. Fue un objetivo, fue un peleador que peleó con Benavides, supuestamente tenía un largo recorrido en el boxeo profesional, pero bueno, yo no soy atleta de que se preocupa por los resultados ni por el recorrido, sino que solamente me enfoco en mí mismo y en el objetivo que tengo en ese momento. Y para mí, ese objetivo de Kyron Davis me colocó en buena posición en las 4 organizaciones. Y entonces, si este objetivo para el 28 de marzo es el mismo pronóstico, entonces la vamos a romper como siempre lo hemos hecho y nada, a ganar nuestra pelea.
Look, I'm not one that really concerns himself with records or how much experience my opponent has. Like I said, I focus on myself. But I will say that Kyron Davis was an excellent test. Somebody that had fought Benavides before and had outstanding fights in his resume. So, that helped me really get going. And then it was a quality fight, but I'm focused on March 28th now. And I know that I'm going to really be the best version of myself. I'm going to put on a show. And I can't wait because everything I've done before has led up to this moment.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, James. Our next media questions are going to come from Elias Awad with Univision San Diego.
Hi guys, my question para Yoenli Hernandez. Yoenli, ¿cuál va a ser la estrategia y cómo te imaginas la pelea del 28 de marzo para poder ganarle a Terrell? Y también si aprovechas y si esperas que vaya a haber mucha presencia de cubanos ahora que en Las Vegas hay tantos paisanos, pues esperas que vayan a verte.
Bueno,
Gracias.
esperemos que la fanaticada cubana vaya a vernos. Nada, sabemos que nosotros los cubanos, supuestamente yo soy el único que queda vivo, como quien dice en las redes sociales. Pero bueno, yo no le presto atención a eso, solamente voy a darle el espectáculo que siempre he dado. Voy a siempre a dar lo mejor que yo siempre he dado a River Ring. Demostrar que el verdadero campeón soy yo, de que no estamos creyendo en nombre ni en el recorrido los boxeadores que vayan a pelear con nosotros. No menosprecio a nadie, pero el campeón soy yo y siempre lo he dicho y voy a lograr mi objetivo. Esté por delante de quien esté que me quiera quitar el título, yo siempre voy a pasarle por arriba.
The question from Elias was, first of all, what's your game plan for coming out on top on March 28th? And do you hope that the Cuban fans are going to come out to support you? You only said that, of course, I hope that the Cuban community comes out and shows me their love. And, like in social media, actually, people refer to me as the last Cuban standing in a way. So I'm here to prove that I'm not only that, but I'm the champion. And I don't care about who's standing in my way. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna demolish everybody that's in my way because I'm the champion. I want the throne, and whoever tries to dethrone me after that, it's gonna be someone that I just have to take out of my way.
Yoenli, ¿nos puede hablar un poquito de la estrategia que vas a usar para pelearle a Terrell?
No, la estrategia de eso se lo dejo yo a la esquina prácticamente porque siempre lo he dicho y no soy boxeador que vea a otros peleadores para saber ni nada de eso. Yo la estrategia se la dejo a mi esquina, confío bastante en la esquina mía. Y entonces, como yo soy un atleta que me gusta tener coordinación con mi gente en la esquina, entonces la estrategia se la dejo a la gente de mi esquina.
As far as the strategy goes, I listen to my corner first and foremost. I'm not someone that really like goes out and studies the opponent on film or anything like that. I fully trust in my corner, and I know that whenever I work in tandem with them, we have the results that we want. So we're really confident. Gracias, Elias.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Elias. Our next media question is going to come from Matthew Brown with Brunch Boxing. Matthew, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much. My first question is Terrell. So Terrell, in your last fight, I personally thought that you looked better than you looked in a while. I thought you were unlucky to not get the decision against Elijah Garcia. I know you said that you just got to be yourself, but being yourself, even though you might have won that fight, the judges didn't give it to you. You don't think that there's anything that you may need to do differently in this fight to not leave it in the hands of the judges or leave no doubt?
So yeah, in that fight, I felt as though I won that fight as well. But like I said, it's nothing that I have to do different as far as I just gotta be myself and let my hands go. Like you seen that last fight, I was more active than I've been before. I'm getting better and just more dominant. So like I'm just not trying to leave stuff in the judge's hands. So we'll see how it play out. But I'm gonna give it my all, and I've been training hard for a fight like this.
All right, thank you, man. Best of luck. Yoenli, hola, Yoenli.
Hola.
Mi pregunta es muy sencilla. ¿Contra qué campeón prefieres pelear?
Bueno, ahora mismo yo prefería pelear con quien sea, con el campeón que esté disponible a pelear conmigo. Yo no estoy en escoger. Yo peleo con quien sea, con cualquiera de los campeones que estén en las cuatro organizaciones.
Uh, the question was very, very good Spanish, by the way. Which champion would you like to face? And you only said that he's up to fight absolutely anybody. Bring on all the champions because the goal is to show that I'm number one in the division.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much for those questions. Our last media questions for Terrell and Yoenli are going to come from Cesar Seda with Boxeo Hermano Network. Cesar, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yoenli, ¿cómo andas? I have a question for both, Andrew, but
Sure, please.
I'm going to begin with Yoenli. Yoenli, ¿cómo andas? César Seda, Boxeo Urbano Network. Oye, la pregunta es simple.
Dímelo.
Una pelea peligrosa, una pelea que muchos han pensado cómo la tomaste. ¿Cuál es el mensaje que quieres enviarle al mundo del boxeo y a la división de las 160 libras con esta pelea?
Que estén bien, que estén bien enfocados en esta pelea, porque después de esta victoria hay yo diablo para rato y va a haber muchos problemas en las redes sociales. Y voy a estar en boca de mucha gente para que se vayan cuidando todos los campeones que están por ahí, toda la gente de la división, que hay yo para rato. Así que vayan cuidándose las espaldas.
The question from Cesar was, this is a risky fight, so what do you hope to accomplish and which message you want to send to the 160-pound division? And you only was like, look, I'm gonna just show the world that Yo-Yo, the devil, is here to stay, and I'm gonna prevail. I'm gonna win in style. Social media then is gonna be on fire, and you're gonna see that Yoenli is here to stay for a long, long time. So the division better be aware because I'm coming.
Terrell, how you doing? Hey, I got a big questions for you. Social media on the Caribbean side is expecting this fight very much. It's a great challenge for Yoenli. What are your expectations from this fight? You think it's only experience is going to be a matter, or do you think that a age and everything is going to count on this one?
It's just another for me. It's just another fight, you know. Like this guy's a tough guy. That's what I like to face. I don't want to face, you know, mediocre opposition. I've been watching him. I know he bring the fight. I like fights like that to bring out the best in me, and I'm looking to put on a good show for the fans. I'm looking to put my name out there and let them know that I'm also here to stay because I've had some bad decisions. I've, you know, got some rough shakes, but I'm going to turn it around March 28th.
All right. Perfect. Thank you for those questions. And thank you to both Terrell and Yoenli for your time and joining us today. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Miguel to wrap things up with this pair of fighters, and then we'll close it out with our co-main.
Great. Thank you, Andrew. Terrell, Yoenli, thank you so much for joining us here on our call. First, Terrell, closing comments. You are used to the underdog role. You've talked about it March 28th, taking on an undefeated fighter in Yoenli Hernandez. What happens?
I'm just going to go out there, be myself, like always, be victorious because this is a good fight. You know, he's ranked up there high, so this can put me right there for another title shot, and I'm capitalizing on that, and I'm ready. As far as the underdog role, I don't mind that because I've been an underdog my whole life, coming from where I come from. It's a blessing I'm here right now, and I'm just ready for everything.
All right. Thank you so much. And now to your opponent, Yoenli. You are undefeated. This is a huge stage for you at this point in your career. You're extremely close to a potential world title opportunity. What can fans expect from El Diablo on March 28th?
Bueno, Yoenli, este es un gran escenario, el que te puede poner en el umbral de una pelea por el título mundial. ¿Qué puede esperar la gente de El Diablo Yoenli Hernández?
Nada, la victoria. Esperemos con la bendición de Dios que no pase del octavo round. Esperemos.
You can expect,
No quiero llevarlo a decisión de los jueces.
sorry about that. You can expect a victory, and God willing, it doesn't go past the 8th round. I'm not about to leave this in the hands of the judges.
All right. Thank you so much, Yoenli. Thank you, Terrell. We look forward to seeing you all fight week as we gear up to March 28th. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Yoenli.
Thank you.
All right. Now we continue on as we now move to our co-main event on March 28th. This is a fight many fans are excited about, and of course, it takes place in the heavyweight division. First up, we will introduce a man that is undefeated, 14-0, 12 by knockout, a native of Tulare, California. He has capped an impressive amateur career with an Olympic silver medal representing the U.S. at the Tokyo Olympics, and he has most recently stopped Thomas Selleck in round one last November. This man has a ton of momentum behind him. Please help me welcome Richard Torrez Jr.
Hi, how's it going? It's a pleasure to be here. I get to kind of cross over to the PBC area side, and I'm excited to show everyone what I have.
Awesome. Thank you, Richard. And we'll get to you in just a second as we bring on your opponent, who is coming in 25-1, 18 by knockout. He's born in Guantanamo, Cuba, now training in San Diego with the esteemed trainer Eddie Reynoso. He is 33 years old, has worked his way up the rankings while winning his first 24 bouts, including a dominant unanimous decision victory over the then unbeaten Efe Ajagba. And his only loss came in May 2024 in a fight against Agit Caballel, where Sanchez injured his knee early in that bout, but he has since recovered from the injury and stopped Ramon Olivias Echeverria last February. Please help me welcome the Cuban Flash, Frank Sanchez. Frank, welcome in.
Frank, ¿cómo estás? Contanos tus sensaciones de cara a esta pelea.
Dime.
Contanos tus sensaciones de cara a esta pelea. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy emocionado, sí, muy emocionado, muy contento por esta pelea.
I'm very excited. I'm very happy about this fight. Glad to be here.
All right. Thank you so much, Frank. And we'll start with you. This is, a huge opportunity on a big stage in the heavyweight division. How can you be the first man to deliver the first defeat for the man across from you, Richard Torrez?
Bueno, Frank, contanos cómo tenés pensado en ser el que le quite el invicto a Richard.
Nada, haciendo mi trabajo y siguiendo las indicaciones de mi equipo, de mi entrenador y todo.
It's as simple as doing my job, following the advice from my corner, and doing what I'm supposed to do.
And now over to you, Richard. You are taking a step up, having been working towards this opportunity, towards a world title opportunity. Would you say that this fight on March 28th will be your toughest to date?
Yeah, no, I definitely believe this will be my toughest fight. Frank Sanchez is a very good opponent. He's fast, he's strong. He has a lot of the qualities that stand out in the heavyweight division, and I think this is a great just spot and position for me to show off who I am as a fighter and what I can accomplish in the heavyweight division as well.
And now back over to you, Frank. This is a world title eliminator, and this would theoretically put you in line to challenge for a world title. What would it mean for you to become the first Cuban heavyweight champion?
Bueno, Frank, esta es una pelea eliminatoria por llegar al título mundial. ¿Qué significaría para vos el ser el primer boxeador cubano en la historia en consagrarse como campeón mundial del peso pesado?
Nada, significa mucho y ya que es un paso que siempre se ha querido dar, ¿no? Y nada, vamos con todo este 28 de marzo para ganar esta pelea y ya ponernos en posición del título mundial y darle el alegrón que necesita mi país de tener el primer campeón heavyweight en el boxeo profesional.
it means a whole lot. It's a step that I've always wanted to take. So what do we have to do? We have to go out there on March 28th and give our absolute best, because then the doors open for me to be able to give the Cuban people that reason to celebrate, that happiness that they need, and for them to know that they now have a heavyweight champion for the first time.
Before we go back to Richard, thank you, Martin. Before we go back to you, Richard, since we have Eddie Reynoso here on the call, Eddie, how has camp been going for Frank? You know, he obviously suffered the defeat, but has since come back. And obviously, he had the knee injury in that fight. What has changed for you guys during camp as you get prepared for this very difficult matchup against the undefeated Richard Torrez?
Bueno, Eddie, ¿cómo estás? Un gusto tenerte acá con nosotros. Contanos cómo ha cambiado tu perspectiva de Frank durante el campeonato de entrenamiento, considerando que arrastraban la lesión en la rodilla, y cómo se sienten ahora.
Pues bien, estamos trabajando bien, tenemos un buen equipo de preparadores físicos, tenemos muy buen nutriólogo, tenemos un gran equipo para trabajar fuerte con Frank. Hemos estado esperando estas peleas por algún tiempo. Creo que es una gran oportunidad. Torres es un excelente peleador, un muchacho muy disciplinado, fuerte, pero creo que Frank tiene todo para ganar esta pelea. Frank tiene mucha experiencia, tiene muy buen boxeo y esperemos que salir con la mano en alto.
Well, you know, we have an excellent team led by our, you know, like our conditioning team, and also the nutritionists, everyone that really has chipped in to make this an outstanding training camp. Let me tell you that Richard Torres is also an outstanding opponent, someone that's fast and disciplined. But I truly believe that Frank has what it takes to come out on top with his experience, his skills. This is an opportunity that we have been waiting for a while, and now we plan to really make the most of it. That's what we're here for on March 28th.
Thank you, Martin. And one last question to you, Richard, before we turn it over to the media. Taking on this fight against Frank Sanchez, we've the American heavyweight has lacked over the last few years. The last world champion we had was Deontay Wilder here, and we saw, when there's an American heavyweight champion, the people gravitate towards that. Do you feel like you're that next man up to take over that mantle as the next great American heavyweight?
I'm very proud of where I come from and who I am, and I would love to be able to kind of carry that on my shoulders. I don't look at that though. I don't really look for like being the poster child or being the guy that has to carry the weight of the world on his shoulders. I'm just gonna go out there and fight. Estoy muy orgulloso de mi herencia mexicana. Yo tengo un cuerpo de americano, sangre mexicano y corazón. I'm here, I'm ready, and I'm excited to show all facets of all my ethnicities and my nationalities.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Richard. And now we'll turn things over to the media. Once again, raise your hand and Andrew will try to get to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Miguel. Our first media questions for our co-main are going to come from Manny Menendez with Boxeo Mundial. Manny, please unmute yourself and you can ask your question.
Manny, si eres tan gentil de quitarte del mudo, porfa.
¿Me escucha?
Amigo. Gracias.
¿Me escucha?
Te escuchamos muy bien. Ahora, haz tus preguntas.
Un caluroso saludo para Fran Sánchez, Manny Menéndez desde aquí, desde Miami, la gente de boxeo mundial, boxeo de altura. ¿Cómo está, Fran? ¿Cómo te va?
Todo bien, Manny, todo bien. Tranquilo.
Óyeme, te quiero hacer una pregunta porque tuviste una pelea en el 2024 contra Caballel, la lamentable derrota. Después te sometiste a una operación de rodilla. 10 meses después peleaste con un boxeador como para entrar en forma de mucho menor nivel y un año después vas a hacer esta pelea tan importante para tu carrera. La pregunta es sencilla: ¿cómo has compensado esta relativa inactividad, que no lo podemos negar, contra un hombre más activo?
Nada, yo me he mantenido, como quiera, me he mantenido siempre en el gimnasio, ¿no? Yo me he mantenido trabajando y entrenando, ¿no? Y yo, y bueno, cojo la forma deportiva bien rápido. Ya no soy un peleador que llevo mucho tiempo peleando, ¿no? Y tengo bastante experiencia.
Pienso que los
Wait,
sparring
wait, wait,
también
wait,
ya
but Manny, wait. So let me translate this first, so I don't lose track
Okay, sí.
of the
Okay.
answers. Thank you. So Manny's question was, considering the gap that there was between fights, the injury, how do you think the inactivity and the ring rust may affect you against Torres? And Frank was saying that he spent a lot of time in the gym, that he doesn't expect to feel any rust or effects of inactivity at all, and that he relies on his experience and the vast amount of fights that he has had throughout his career in order to come out on top. And also, allow me to say that Richard was saying in Spanish earlier that he's proud of his Mexican heritage, that he carries Mexican blood with him, and that he's very, very happy to represent that side of himself as well. Bueno, Manny, ¿tu segunda pregunta?
Sí, le decía que si los sparring lo han compensado también, lo han ayudado. Los sparring.
Frank?
Sí. Me han ayudado bastante, me están ayudando bastante.
The second question was whether Frank felt that the sparring sessions helped him for match 28. And Frank said that absolutely, the sparring sessions have been great and they have helped him towards this fight. Gracias, Manny.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Manny. Our next media questions are going to come from Shaba Rodriguez with ESPN Knockout. Shaba, please unmute yourself. You can ask your questions.
Hey, ¿cómo están todos? Hey, how are you everyone? Ya hablaba Frank precisamente de lo que significa hacer historia y quiero aprovechar la presencia de Eddie Reynoso, que ha hecho historia con Canelo Álvarez, con algunos otros peleadores, pero Eddie, en lo personal, ¿qué significaría llevar al campeonato del mundo a un peleador como Frank Sánchez, que hoy, bueno, pues está ante la pelea de su vida?
Eddie, si querés empezar vos primero con la segunda pregunta y después terminamos con Frank. Dale, entonces la pregunta de Chava, lo de qué significaría para vos el llevarlo a Frank a la gloria.
Sí, mira, pues motivado, la verdad, siempre que se vienen retos, uno como entrenador se motiva, ellos como boxeadores también. Primero hay que ganar un eliminatorio, después buscar el campeonato mundial. Creo que hay mucho trabajo por hacer. Estamos enfocados en el trabajo, estamos haciendo las cosas lo mejor que se puede y pues esperar un triunfo de Frank. Y mira, imagínate que llegar a ser el primer campeón cubano como siempre hemos querido desde que está aquí en el equipo. Por ahí tuvimos una derrota, pero pues mira, estamos trabajando fuerte para llegar a lo más alto y esperemos que con este Richard Torrez sea un trampolín para llegar a conquistarlo.
The question for Eddie was what it will mean to him to be coaching the first ever Cuban heavyweight champion. And Eddie was saying that it will mean a lot. It's definitely something that motivates both him, Frank, and the team because it's been a long road that where you have to go through an eliminator and then obviously going towards the world title fight. Yes, there was a loss on the way to this goal, but it hasn't made us any less determined. It's a stumble that we have recovered from, and the goal for me is to really be able to maximize this opportunity with Frank, to have him be the first Cuban champion, and to proudly represent everything that he stands for inside and outside the ring. Chava, y la pregunta para Frank era.
La pregunta para Frank es, ¿qué cambió de aquel Frank que perdió en aquella ocasión en Arabia? ¿Qué fue lo que hiciste diferente? ¿Qué has hecho diferente? ¿Qué vas a presentar ahora para pensar en que tienes esa madera de campeón del mundo?
No, ya me siento bien de la rodilla, ¿no? Ya me siento muy bien, ya estamos trabajando bien fuerte y estoy bien enfocado aquí en mi campo de entrenamiento para la preparación, para la pelea. Yo creo que ya con eso, ya ese enfoque que tenemos y el gran equipo que tenemos trabajando bien enfocado conmigo, creo que ya con eso tenemos todo para ganar la pelea.
The question from Chava was about what has changed for Frank from that fight in Saudi Arabia to now. And Frank was saying that the knee is fully healed. and also really fully focused on March 28th. He has an outstanding team backing him up. And with that mentality being really strong and the knee being well and himself feeling strong, he has everything that he needs in order to succeed against Richard Torrez. Gracias, Chava.
Y por último, para Richard Torrez, si se puede. Hi, Richard, how are you, champ?
How's it going?
Great, thank you so much. We are so happy that you take the Mexican flag with you. You just have to learn to dance some banda. So be ready, be prepared. And what about Richard for this fight? What is going to be the difference between you and Frank Sanchez? You know that your fight rhythm is going to be the difference, your aggressive in the styles, or what is your difference for you in this fight?
You know, I think the biggest thing and the best thing I do is just hone in on what makes Richard Torrez. And yes, one of the big things that I have is my conditioning. And I think that my conditioning is going to outlast almost any heavyweight that they have. I believe full-heartedly they have the best conditioning in the game, and I show that this fight, being able to just stay consistent and follow the game plan, and go out there and show a lot.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Shava. We'll try to get through just a couple more here. Our next media questions are going to come from Matthew Brown with Brunch Boxing. Matthew, please unmute yourself. You can ask your questions.
Thank you so much. This question is for Richard. I'm just curious because nobody seemed to want this fight against Frank Sanchez. What made you feel like you were ready for this challenge at this point in your career?
I mean, that's the name of the game, though, isn't it? The challenge. You know, I don't want to sit here and pick my fights. I don't want to sit here and like try to figure out my way to the top the easiest way. I want the hardest fights. I want to be the best. In order to be the best, you have to beat the best. And I think Frank Sanchez is one of the better fighters in the division. You know, just showing a lot of his skill sets through the years. He's really proved himself, and I want to be there and prove myself as well. A lot of people say that, Richard Torrez hasn't had too many fights, or Richard Torrez hasn't established himself in the pro game. And I think that this is the best way I could do so. You know, and I think some of the things I did in the amateur divisions is going to be able to just, I mean, my things will show. You know, my qualities and my traits will definitely show on a quality fighter like Frank Sanchez.
All right, thanks so much. Best of luck. Frank, ¿qué tan frustrante ha sido para usted el proceso de encontrar un oponente?
¿Cómo repite la pregunta?
¿Qué tan frustrante ha sido para usted el proceso de encontrar un oponente?
Nada, bueno, yo me he mantenido, ¿sabes? ¿No? En mi postura, sé que hay muchos oponentes no quisieron, pues, se negaron a pelear conmigo, ¿no? Pasaron como 4 o 5 que no aceptaron la pelea, ¿no? Y finalmente, pues Richard sí la tomó. Pues para mí, yo me he mantenido en mi enfoque, ¿no? Sé que soy muy peligroso para todos los peleadores, los heavyweight, y creo que por eso casi todos me evitan. Pero nada, ya vamos a darle este paso con Richard y vamos a ganar y vamos a poner una buena posición para el título mundial.
The question for Frank was, how frustrating has it been for him to be able to find an opponent that accepts fighting with him? Frank was saying that it's been a process. I'm well aware of the fact that a lot of fighters don't want to go up against me. They consider me a dangerous opponent. There were 4 or 5 potential opponents that could have happened, and they said no. But I remained focused, I remained steadfast, and now I'm ready to seize this chance against Richard Torrez in order to make the most of it.
All right, perfect. Thank you for those questions, Matthew. Our next media questions are going to come from Elias Sawat with Univision San Diego. Elias, please unmute yourself. You can ask your question.
Gracias, Frank. Lo que ha representado para ti trabajar con un manager, con un grupo como lo representa Eddie Reynoso, un entrenador con tanta reputación y tanta experiencia. ¿Cómo ha sido trabajar con él? Y por último, lo que hablaba ahorita Eddie de esa adaptación, de esa nutrición. Si ya te cambiaron los frijoles y arroz cubano por los frijoles y arroz mexicano.
Frank, si querés andamos primero y terminamos con Eddie.
Ajá. Eh, nada, ya me siento no, muy bien con trabajar aquí con Eddie, ¿no? Y un entrenador de tanta experiencia. La verdad me he sentido muy bien todo el tiempo que siempre he trabajado con él, ¿no? Y creo que lo más importante también, eh, que siempre, o sea, mantenemos una comunicación y él siempre me motiva, ¿no? Y habla conmigo para poder estar entrenando fuerte y nada, bien contento con eso, bien agradecido con Eddie por todo este trabajo que hemos hecho.
The
Y
question was, how does Frank feel training under Eddie Reynoso? Frank says that it's been not just now, but we've been training for a while now, and it's simply amazing to train with Eddie and the entire team that they treat me so well. Eddie motivates me, pushes me to train as hard as I can in order to go after what I want. And I know that, he has my back, and I feel really appreciative of everything that he does for me. Y ahora, si querés, Eddie, la segunda pregunta sobre el arroz y la... ¿Cómo era la pregunta, Elías, del arroz y cómo?
Si Frank, ya te acostumbraste al arroz y a los frijoles mexicanos, o todavía prefieres el arroz y el frijol cubano? Esa para los dos.
bueno, el arroz y los frijoles cubanos, tú sabes, son mis raíces, eso nunca lo voy a olvidar, ¿no? Pero bueno, sí, ya me he acostumbrado también aquí a comerme a comer arroz y frijoles mexicanos, unos buenos taquitos.
A ver, Eddie.
Sí.
Sí, la pregunta era de que si ya lo acostumbraste a Frank a comer arroz y todo eso mexicano, o si todavía está con los platillos cubanos, ¿cómo la ves?
No, aquí come comida mexicana, sus buenos cortes, pero el arroz no lo deja por nada, ni los frijoles, Frank.
So,
Es leal a sus raíces cubanas y el arroz se come kilos de arroz diario, Frank.
So the question was about whether Frank has been able to let go of the Cuban rice and beans and perhaps embraced more of the Mexican rice and beans. And well, first of all, Frank said that the Cuban rice and beans are here to stay, but that he has enjoyed some really good tacos and mixing that up with the Mexican rice as well. And Eddie was saying that there is no way that he can convince Frank to leave the Cuban rice and beans behind. That's a staple of training camp, but that he truly is proud of him for having embraced the Mexican food as well. They're having a lot of fun with it.
All right. Thank you for that. Our last media questions for today are going to come from James Bell with the Boxing Source. James, please unmute yourself and you can ask your questions.
All right, thanks, Andrew. One question for both. First, for Richard. Given the momentum that you had from last year, one fight against Guido Vianello and then the 1-round stoppage there. How important was that to get those two fights in to set you up for this IBF World Title Eliminator?
I think the Guido fight set a precedent a little bit in as far as being ranked and stuff like that. And I think it was just a good year last year. We had a main event, and we were able to showcase our style in Vegas and again in Mexico. And I'm just looking forward to furthering that process.
Gotcha. And a question for Frank. What was the thing that you worked on, over the past year with Coach Eddie Reynoso, as far as recovering from knee injury and at least, having one fight in the interim? And Eddie can also answer if possible.
But what was the question? What the focus was, or what
was the one thing that he worked on the most in camp while coming from his previous fight that he lost and then was able to get back to have one fight to prepare for this?
Bueno, esta pregunta es para los dos. ¿En qué se han enfocado más que nada desde aquella derrota en Arabia Saudita para llegar a este 28 de marzo y como dijo Frank con la lesión ya en el espejo retrovisor?
Bueno, estamos enfocados primeramente en la buena, o sea, yo manteniendo la disciplina no, y el trabajo aquí en el gimnasio diario, ¿no? Y el equipo que tenemos que buen nutricionista y todo, estamos bien enfocados.
It really comes down to what we referenced in the beginning, the importance of staying disciplined, working with the nutritionist, working with the entire team that has my back in order to achieve our goals. That there is really no one thing, it's about everybody working together to achieve our goals. Eddie, ¿te gustaría agregar algo?
No, que estamos muy contentos, enfocados, va a ser una gran pelea. Richard Torrez es un tremendo peleador, Frank, que quiere tocar la gloria. Entonces va a ser una gran pelea de dos buenos boxeadores y futuros campeones del mundo.
Look, as far as Eddie goes, we're really focused, we're really happy, we're excited, and let me say that once again that Richard is a tremendous fighter, and the fans are going to want to miss this fight because it's going to be between two future world champions.
All right. Excellent. Thank you for those questions, James. And thank you to all the media that joined us today. Thank you to both Frank and Richard for your time. We really appreciate y'all's participation here. And with that, I'm going to throw things back to our host, Miguel Flores, to wrap things up.
Thank you so much, Andrew. Richard, Frank, thank you guys for joining us here on this call. I'll start with you first, Richard. March 28th, people love heavyweights. What are people going to see in our co-main event?
Thank you.
Bueno, entonces contanos cómo son tus sensaciones de cara a lo que veremos en este evento coestelar. Frank.
Repite, Martin.
No,
sorry, Martin. I think that this question was for Richard.
Oh, sorry. Bye.
No worries. Richard, go ahead. If you need me to repeat the question, I certainly can.
No, that's fine. I think that this fight is going to showcase a Latin style of heavyweights, and it's something that's kind of new, and it's something that hasn't really been seen too much before. But I got that Mexican style in me, and I'm more than happy and willing to showcase that pressure and that tenacity and that grind and that grit that the Mexican style has to offer, and putting that against someone that's slick and a boxer like Frank Sanchez, I think will make for a really good test of styles, and I'm excited to throw my hand in the ring with that.
Awesome. And now over to you, Frank. Similar question. March 28th, both of you heavyweights are colliding. How do you predict it all going down?
Frank, entonces 28 de marzo, dos pesos pesados chocando uno contra el otro. ¿Cuál es tu vaticinio de lo que va a suceder esa noche del sábado en Las Vegas?
Nada, a ganar. Vamos con todo. Vamos bien motivados. Vamos a ganar.
We're going to win. We're motivated, and we're going to come out with our hand raised.
All right. Well, thank you, Richard. Thank you, Frank, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you fight week as we gear up towards March 28th from MGM Grand Garden Arena, PBC pay-per-view event. It's Fundora against Thurman. As we want to thank all of our fighters and all the media members that joined us here on this call. And we look forward to seeing everyone on Fight Week. Thank you so much, everyone.